Now, hello everyone. Welcome to TTM Studio. My name is Emmanuel. The Premier League season has started. All the other leagues of Europe have started. You've got the transfer window still open, so your best players are coming in. You've got their T-shirts, you've got their names, you've got your satellite TV set up for the season to go. Now, you must be wondering why I'm making this video, and I'm titling it "Why an African Country Might Never Win the World Cup." Now, that's in the backdrop of all what I just said before. There is a chance that the jersey you're wearing is not from a player of your local club. So you're probably supporting a player that has a big name somewhere, but at the end of the day, you're expecting that your national team would turn up when the World Cup is organized and win the World Cup. Now, we saw Argentina conquer the world in the last World Cup with Lionel Messi. Now, you might be forgiven for thinking that Argentina won the World Cup, obviously, because Messi is good. But I want to point you back to what countries like Argentina and the most recent teams that have won the World Cup, what they are actually doing to win the World Cup. France, Argentina, and most other countries that have won the World Cup recently are investing immensely, both in infrastructure and in software, to develop and improve the quality of their football and the players. Now, most of us, we support foreign players, foreign teams, and foreign names, but we have our local teams. Some of you wearing these jerseys do not know the color of the jersey of your local team, but you blame someone else when your country doesn't play well. Now, there are three main factors that I think needs to happen for an African country to win the World Cup. So improvement in infrastructure, improvement in training, and the total abolition of corruption. Improvement in infrastructure comes in different ways. Let's take the case of Argentina.
Argentina has one of the most well-developed football infrastructure in South America. And then coupled to that, they've started a 10-year branding program of developing Argentinian football, both within the country and externally. In fact, Argentina is the first country that has built a football complex in Miami, in the United States, even before United States of America. So if you see them winning the World Cup, it's not only because they've got the best player in the world, it's because they produce the best players by wrapping them up with the best infrastructures and the best place for them to work and grow talent.
Now let's go back to the support of the people. Some of these teams started years ago playing on mud pitches with no stadium like this. But they had local supporters, people buying tickets here and promoting the team. So if you're not promoting your local team and you're not promoting your local players, how are you expecting your country's football to evolve in a way to be able to compete at international level? It's not always the country to be blamed. We have to look back and see what is our contribution to our football, because we are so addicted to beautiful football on telly and beautiful pitches, but we forget to know that all these teams have come a long way. So whatever our teams look like now, our local teams back home, and whatever our pitches look like now, is down up to us to buy tickets, to buy T-shirts, and be the first promoters of our local teams. When it comes to infrastructure, it's a shame when I talk about this, a star like President George Weah comes to my mind. That's someone who's traveled around the best football stadiums in Europe. He's now the president of his country. You would have thought that by the time he finishes running his country, he would have a stadium in every town in Liberia. There are lots of young architects, there are lots of African architects around the world who would jump at the chance of being invited to participate in designing and building a stadium. Now, I'm calling on African power holders and politicians to not hesitate to fund projects like this that can improve football and enable our young people, talented young people, to be found out and brought in and participate so we can get to the point where we can be able to compete internationally. The third point I wanted to make is the local media. They must play their part. When you go around on Facebook and on YouTube, all what you see is our local medias back home flashing big images of popular players in Europe. But they don't turn back to their own community and pick the stars of their community and advertise them. They're not participating in branding the local teams as well. We are very quick to consume what has already been decorated here, you know, what has already been packaged here in Europe and displayed back home. But they started from somewhere. And if we don't start somewhere as well, we will never have local teams that are good enough to be branded and sold, to be packaged and sold like what we consume today. And it is only by doing that that we will be able to acquire the finances that are needed for those local teams and local football training grounds to grow and to find the right talents. So that was the reason for this video today. I wanted to call upon football supporters in Africa to realize that we cannot support foreign teams and foreign players every time, and then when there is a World Cup or an international event, we think that we can just, the National Federation can just call the teams back and they turn around and we start blaming them if they don't win the World Cup. There is also the issue of animosity towards referees. We have to be able to be mature football supporters. We don't have to fight and destroy and damage people's life and property each time there is an issue with a goal or with a foul or a tackle that we don't like. All that boils down to a level of maturity that we have to acquire to be able to compete in the international scene. Now I hope this video reaches the right people, and I hope we engage in this conversation of supporting our own local teams and calling on power dignitaries like President Joshua, as I said earlier, to do something. The stadiums must not always be large, big, covered, Olympic-type stadiums. This can be, a World Cup game can be played on this stadium with no problems. So we don't have to have big Olympic, all-covered stadiums. We just have to have infrastructure good enough to allow players to express themselves. So thank everyone for listening. And if you have anything to say about this video, or if you have anything any idea to add, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. So let's have a debate about it. Thanks everyone for watching.